this is my poster for the AP Lang Holocaust film project. The filmmaker's goal when directing Bonhoeffer, Pastor Spy, as an assassin, was trying to depict Bonhoeffer's personality, really focusing on more of the political and religious side of the war. I say the filmmaker, and by the filmmaker I mean Todd Kamarnicki, was very successful in depicting Bonhoeffer's moral dilemma between bravery and sacrifice. The pacing of the film is pretty slow at some points, but it really provides the concentration on the key scenes that provide a really engaging story of sacrifice and resistance. There's certain scenes where Bonhoeffer is kind of stuck between, wanting to risk himself just to resist Hitler, and, it really shows how that, like my quote says, in the face of tyranny, courage wears many masks. Kind of shows how hard he had to work to get to, fight back and resist Hitler. The soundtrack and the score really contributed to the depth of emotional effect by utilizing slow, somber music and in really emotional moments. The orchestration matches the kind of agony and turmoil of Bonhoeffer, which kind of creates a scary, haunting effect, mainly while he's in prison and some of the dilemmas he has. It kind of guides the audience through his emotional path without super overpowering the movie and kind of taking over the movie. Some historical insight. It contributes to the knowledge of the Nazi period and the German resistance, and it examines Bonhoeffer's motives, revealing some of his decisions and stuff like that of all the people who oppose the Nazis. And it really does add personal depth to a man really familiar mainly because of his religion. For historical accuracy, I'd say this film is pretty accurate because of his place in the German resistance, which kind of chronologically shows his activities against the Nazis, to say, from his arrest all the way up until his death. There's kind of a few scenes that are pretty dramatic and, are mainly just for dramatic effect, but they don't really take away from the accuracy. Some of the casting, the actor who plays Bonhoeffer is pretty effective, capturing his inner strength and a moral fiber. The actor's performance kind of shows how intellectual and, just really thoughtful Bonhoeffer is, which kind of allows the audience to sort of feel bad for him and empathize with Bonhoeffer. The script is also really good. I wanted to talk about that because it kind of shows a perfect balance between how silence can be very loud and how talking can also be very quiet. And it kind of shows how the actions Bonhoeffer makes speak for themselves without without saying too much. And it makes the kind of restraint there makes the moments of the turning point more effective and the film more reflective to the audience. Like I said, the pacing, the back and forth movement between the past and present of Bonhoeffer's life honestly really works. And I like how it's not really a linear movie, it's not one continuous line. It kind of has differing paradoxes where his decisions shift with sort of pausing moments as well. And for my last two creative elements here, I'm going to pick the script and the set design. Like I said, the script was just amazing with the silence and the actions. Kind of enhances the key moments, obviously, like I said. And for the set design, the portrayal of the prison was really nice. It kind of shows the grim kind of atmosphere that the non-Nazis were living in during the time. And they also emphasize how oppressive the Nazis were to, honestly, the Germans and the Jews, obviously, during the Holocaust. And it really shows how Bonhoeffer, even being a man like him, had limited freedoms and kind of all the dangers that surrounded the man at the time. It was wild to see. I think that's really all that I have to talk about for the project here. It was a good movie. I recommend to watch it. So on my poster here, I'm going to explain that a little bit. On the left side, we have the pastor, so his pastor side, how religious the man was, what religions he practiced. I have the Star of David and some crosses there. I'm not really too big on religion, but that's kind of what I put and what I thought the movie represented. For the middle there, I have spies, a couple of different spies, just generic black and white spies. Just get in, get out, get whatever info you can. And on the right side here, I obviously have the swastika, and I want to talk about the two lightning bolts. Two lightning bolts kind of represented Nazi oppression at the time. That was like the symbol to see if you were being oppressed by the Nazis. The key quote here that I picked was, "The ultimate test of a moral society is the kind of world it leaves for its children." And I think that quote honestly explains very well why Bonhoeffer did what he did, and kind of goes to show the kind of man he was. Shows that he was a man of character and value, and that he wanted to leave behind a great world for us and not to have being impressed by Nazis. Obviously, it was directed by Todd Kamarnicki and released on November 22nd of last year. And the tagline there is, "In the face of tyranny, courage wears many masks." The underneath quote that I kind of thought of, it was, "A man of consciousness in a time of war," which I think accurately reflects Bonhoeffer. And then the outline there is just an outline of Bonhoeffer. I have my trailer at the bottom left, and this QR code is at the bottom right. Thank you for listening.